This is a special report from True Crime Today and the Hidden Killers podcast.
I'm Tony Bruski. Thanks for joining us. A pivotal day in federal court for Alec Murdaugh as a disgraced former personal injury attorney sentenced to an additional 40 years in prison, culminating in a total of 480 months behind bars. The stern judgment was passed down by U.S. District Judge Richard M. Gergel in South Carolina following Murdaugh's guilty plea to a litany of 22 federal financial crime charges back in September of last year. Judge Gergel expressed his determination to enforce a sentence of 480 months alongside mandatory restitution surpassing $9 million aimed at compensating the victims of Murdaugh's extensive financial misdeeds. However, recognizing Murdaugh's incapability to fulfill this restitution, Gergel opted to waive the fee, mandating instead that Murdaugh immediately pay a $2,000 special assessment. In court, Murdaugh expressed deep remorse for his actions, stating, "I do want you to know and all of the victims to know I am filled with sorrow. I am filled with remorse. I am filled with guilt." Jim Griffin, Murdaugh's attorney, voiced uncertainty regarding the actual duration Murdaugh would serve with a 40-year sentence, noting the federal system's practice of inmates serving roughly 60% of their sentences, which could potentially reduce Murdaugh's time to prison to 24 years. Things can change over time, Griffin remarked outside the Charleston courthouse. The sentencing drew reactions from various quarters, including Eric Bland, a lawyer representing the victims of Murdaugh's financial crimes. Bland found it offensive to compare Murdaugh's victims to those of high-profile financial crimes like Bernie Madoff or the Enron executives, emphasizing that Murdaugh's victims had suffered personal losses, not just financial setbacks. Murdaugh, age 55, is concurrently serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole for the June 2021 murder of his wife Maggie and their youngest son Paul, a crime prosecutors argue was an attempt to divert attention from his unraveling financial misdeeds. Additionally, Murdaugh faced a 27-year sentence in a state case for his financial crimes handed down last November, despite federal prosecutors recommending a 17 to 22-year sentence for Murdaugh's near 2 dozen crimes, including bank fraud and money laundering. A recent development saw allegations of Murdaugh failing part of a polygraph test, potentially breaching his plea agreement. Murdaugh's defense team, including Griffin and Dick Harpootlian, contested these allegations, arguing for the dismissal of the charges based on the supposed irregularities of the polygraph test. Their request to review the polygraph examination was initially considered but ultimately withdrawn during Monday's hearing. In the backdrop of these legal proceedings, Murdaugh was also implicated in a jury tampering allegation related to his murder trial. Despite his attorney's efforts to secure a new trial based on those claims, the court decided against it, leaving Murdaugh to face the consequences of his myriad of crimes, both financial and violent, that have irrevocably tarnished his legacy and inflicted immeasurable harm on his victims and their families. That's the latest. Press subscribe so you don't miss any of our breaking updates on this case and the cases that we follow for you right here at True Crime Today and the Hidden Killers podcast. I'm Tony Bruski. Stay with us.
This has been a special report from True Crime Today and the Hidden Killers podcast.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advance access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.